It is 12:59. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. Breaking news this morning from CNBC. The PGA Tour has agreed to merge with Saudi-backed rival Live Golf. The deal will see the two move forward together as a larger golf enterprise. Titans are on the field today for mandatory minicamp. Select players and head coach Mike Vrabel will meet with the media in the 2 o'clock hour. You can hear all of it live right here on Blaine and Mickey. College baseball was announced this morning that Tennessee will not host Super Regionals this weekend. The Vols are heading to Hattiesburg to take on Southern Miss. A 3-game series for a spot in Omaha begins on Saturday. U.S. men's national team finalizing their 23-man roster for the upcoming CONCACAF Nations League, and it includes Nashville SC defender Walker Zimmerman. USA will play the semifinal against Mexico on June 15th. Nashville midfielder Anibal Godoy was included in the Panamanian national team squad. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Yep. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Mandatory minicamp. So we're practicing today. Blaine's been running the defensive drills this morning. Lucas is the quarterback, the producer, so he's been running all these elaborate passing drills. I'm just a special teams guy, so I was trying to catch some of Stonehouse's punts. But
talk about how many you boomed it.
well, the Titans on the practice field right now, everybody, and for people who wondered, I don't know how much I can say because typically you can't release things until practice is over. I'll say that Kevin Byard is there. For anybody who was worried, I don't think that'll get me in trouble. Kevin Byard was there. Kevin Byard was there. I went there and then I came here. I'm sorry that my show splits the practice, but Kevin Byard practiced. I can say that.
But you got to see them stretch and warm up and everything.
Oh,
and
Kevin Byard was stretching. He looked very limited.
Oh, he looked
I'm going
fresh,
to report that. Yeah.
I guess we can go home now.
Yeah,
That
was the biggest thing.
We're not at practice because I would get confused. You know, I'm not smart enough. I would get confused on what I can and cannot say. I would just be talking about what I saw. I don't know.
I think when practice is over, here's the best for people who wonder.
Okay.
Here's the best way I can explain it.
Help us out.
You can go to practice, and there are certain times you can take out your phone and shoot pictures and video. When they stretch.
Well, no, what times?
Like the stretch.
I need specifics.
Oh, gosh. I don't know because it's all broken down. You know, it's all broken down into periods. So like the first 10 or 12 minutes when we get there, they're running in circles and stretching. You can shoot all that you want. Then they break off, and they do special team stuff that we cannot photograph or video.
Oh.
Although I will tell you this, and again, I'm sorry, this
I
violates
won't be doing
any standards.
Any photos if I was able
Not
to
of special teams. So let's say you've been there 18 minutes. You could have shot all the stretching you wanted, and then none of the next like 12, 13 minutes of stretching and running in place and all this
Individuals.
stuff. Individual stretching, okay. Yes. And then they line up and they stretch. Like anybody ever played football, you lined up and you stretch. We can shoot all that we want. Then they divide up and they do all this special team stuff. So like some people, like Derrick Henry, he doesn't do that because he's not on special teams.
Right.
So all the other dudes, that's part of their job, they go do all these various special team things.
Which is really almost the majority of the team.
Almost everybody. Yeah.
Quarterbacks.
Left tackle, quarterback, Traylon Burks, Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
So all the other cats, they go.
All these offensive guys.
Yes, all these other cats. Well, sure, nobody's exempt from defense. Like Big Jeff. But Big Jeff blocks kicks, I guess. So he does some special team. Yeah. So defense.
Then we can't argue you defensive guys.
Defense and special teams then continue to work while the offense can get a sip of cold Gatorade.
Oh, my.
So then they do the special team stuff, which all I can say is this. We can't ever say – we even get like wordy emails, and it says you could say something like Bishop had a good day. Panzica caught the ball well. We can say that. But what we couldn't say is they got Blaine lined up in the backfield on 3 plays. He's playing offense instead of safety.
Oh,
that
is a dream of mine. That never happened.
Wouldn't you?
Oh, man. Well, one time Fisher had me out there. It was on offense, too. Lucas, it was just for the kneel down. I was the way back
so
deep
in
guy.
a game?
In a game, I was the way back deep guy.
What
like
was it
behind the
against?
quarterback. Oh, crap, I don't remember. I did it a couple times. Then he probably saw my face run off the field like, you didn't give me the ball.
You wanted to take
So
that
then he
snap.
took me out of
Hey, you've
it.
changed plays in the huddle on defense before. You didn't want to give it a shot
no,
there.
I definitely have a lot more acumen on the defensive side. Offense was more of a dream and a passion, and felt like I was always going to be a running back my entire life. So they proved me wrong on that one, and so I didn't fight that. So I definitely changed the plays on defense. But you have to be prepared for the chewing out, and hopefully that the play works. That if I call it, so yeah, I tell you, everybody just blame me. It's all right, cool.
Yeah, Blaine, that sounds good.
Yeah. Well, why we blitzing?
Running over the sideline. Hey, man, that's totally Blaine's call.
Yeah, I every time I went zone. So if anybody was doing any scout reporting, I did zone every time, just to keep everything in front of you. It was only when it was like late they were calling in the plays late.
Okay.
So I'm not going to act like I was out there just changing plays. The guys are at the offensive line. They're up on the offensive line.
You're pointing to your helmet like, come on.
Yeah. And then I'm like, we're going to run this. Every time we're in a tough situation, we're going to run this in this game. So it was more like that, not necessarily me being a defensive coordinator.
How long were you in the league before you felt comfortable enough that you would have said, nah, we're not doing that. We're doing this?
Oh, that's after we got here.
Okay.
Yeah,
that long?
I didn't have the cojones to do that. Oh no. Yeah.
When did those cojones, let's say, drop to the level that you would go? No,
I think that was like year 4. But you got to remember now, I'm starting pretty much all 4 of those years.
Mm-hmm.
Even my rookie year, I ended up starting week 10. So yeah. So that it took a minute. You got to be. And guess what? I was in the same system, same coaches. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of trust built up and making me feel like I could do that. Or if we had somebody subbing in for somebody or somebody got dinged and who's making the calls, whether it's most of the time it was the middle linebacker, whether it was Al Smith, Randall Godfrey, or Bullock, or whoever it might have been.
Michael Barrow.
But yeah, so. Baron Wortham, anybody like that's got dinged on the head and getting calls. We all have to know the signals. Well, at least I did. So you can then make the call because, you never, want as a player for someone else, depend on someone else to make the calls for you. You need to know the calls on your own. Now, I know if you're a D lineman, maybe you don't need to know the calls, but at the same time, I want to take responsibility in what I need to be doing, and I can never say, oh, man, we didn't get the call. We got the call late. No, there's no excuses, bro. When we go into that meeting, that film clicks on, and it don't say, hey, they got the call in late. I didn't get the call. And then somebody zoomed by me. Oh, man, I'm perturbed. So that happened. All it takes me is one time. No, not for a touchdown. Just the thought that it could happen. Yeah. And somebody did do it, but they didn't throw to him. I was like, oh, I got to know all calls. So I went in there the next day, and I was like, I'm learning every call on my own. Yep. I'm going to be responsible for my own mishaps. I can't say I did not have a call.
Who was the signaler on defense?
We had different people every year. So, whoever the coordinator decided to be. Sometimes it was him, but most of the time it wasn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was somebody else. Usually it was a DB coach or DB assistant or some assistant linebacker coach, somebody who's in the know of all the calls and the signals, yeah.
Were you ever able to
be a signaler?
Through film study and through watching to be like, oh, I know what they're doing. Oh, that's a knowing laugh, isn't it? Oh.
That is funny you asked me that. Man, there were a couple, I would say, games that I felt like I had a good grasp if I wanted to give a cheat code. But it would always work sometimes and then sometimes not. So then I abandoned it. Like once it went wrong, I didn't use it, Yeah. It's no different than like A.J. Brown talked about when they played the Titans. They run the same offense, same signals. They didn't make any changes, right? All right. Well, one time you knew the call and then they ran something different. And you go, they made some adjustments. Then you kind of bend it. You still keeping count and you still like watching and it may work, but I don't know. Yeah. So I never really depended on that. I know a lot of people did, it's the Patriots. They would do that. They would film just the signaler. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So then they would then match it up with the plays. Yeah, you don't get to be great without cheating, right?
That's the whole theory of NASCAR.
So yeah,
You ain't cheating.
so a lot of people would have. That's when you came up with multiple people giving signals. And then college took it a whole nother level. They got signs and everything else.
College signalers, that's an art.
Yeah, it is.
The guy
man.
with
It's
the
fascinating. I
Cheeto
like
and-
just watching them.
It's fantastic.
I want to figure out which one's
And
calling
they
it.
all have some teams will put their quarterbacks, their backup quarterbacks do it, and they
Yeah.
all wear a different jersey with
yeah.
their uniform, which is fantastic.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. But that was fun times, man. But things are happening so fast, you really don't really get a chance to do it. It's the guys, the high IQ guys, who are really into all that.
One thing that gets me every time, and I've been to a couple of the rookie minicamp and a couple other things, and the way that Vrabel runs practice right in the middle of the day. So I watch them stretch and then do the thing where Stonehouse punts and they go cover the punt or whatever, and then I have to go. But I watch the receivers just run some drills. And even though I go to games and I worked with you and Dyson and a bunch of other guys who played, Mariani, you still forget until you see it again just how big and how fast everybody is. Like to stand next to Burks and they were running like a drill where you come back and catch the ball. And here's the biggest human you've ever seen, like a power forward sized person. And he's just exploding into his breaks and exploding to the ball.
So imagine if he's coming right at you.
Yes.
Ooh.
And you think, and just the size of the humans and the speed of the game. Well, now that's times 11 on both sides. And you're out there tapping your helmet saying, give me a call, knowing one step either way, and the guy's gone.
Yeah, I don't want to give them any help. They already got the advantage on me. I was already one of the shorter guys out there, still today, or even back then. So, yeah, these guys, you got to have a different mindset and when you're out there, playing. Totally different than when you're watching it as a fan. So it's kind of cool to be sitting on this side now, reporting on it and everything else. Kind of understanding what everybody's going through on the field, let alone looking at it from the outside.
Sure. And you're one of the people, actually, you got to live both, Yeah, you got to live both to the ultimate degree. You've been doing this longer now than you did that.
Oh, I know.
So you got longer as broadcast career than football career.
Yeah. I would have thought it would have been the other way around.
So that puts you over 20 years, man. Over 20 plus years of both, which is tough when you're 41. You've been doing this a long time.
My body started breaking down. It says, nope, you are now on the Lucas level Panzika body type.
You don't want to be there.
Oh, Lucas is
it's time to go.
Body type, that soccer leanness. And he could go out and probably practice with the SC, or train rather with the SC today.
No, I don't think so.
Well, when I'm saying really body type, I was talking about I wasn't on the elite level playing. You start seeing the signs even as a player, and even when you're still playing at an elite level. Like my whole goal, every time I was going to be the most conditioned athlete on the team. I could just say that. Every time we come to training camp, I'm going to have the highest score. Your competitive nature just off the track. Nobody's going to beat me on the entire team.
Yeah.
Well, and then we drafted Javon Curse. And then I wasn't first. 2 years in after Javon Curse, now I'm second. Now I'm third. It wasn't like my time was going down. My time was getting faster, but I'm moving down the chart.
Who was between you and Curse?
Might have been Sabari Rowe.
Okay.
On speed, for sure. Yeah.
Isn't it crazy, though, that the guy who was the fastest was a defensive lineman?
Yeah, that would piss me off. Or it still pisses me off. I said, he did what time? Because we weren't in the same group.
Okay.
See, I said, no.
Just running against time.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
See, you're running against your group, though. Mm-hmm. Your group, we were the DB, so he running with the D lineman. So then it was even harder for him to get a fast time because no one's pushing him. Yeah. So I'm like, nah, man, I'm going to the coach and say, hey, so Wilder said, hey, I want to run against Curse. That's when it all started about me and him having a race. Oh. And then I said, oh, no, I didn't mean like a 40.
No, 100.
I'm not trying to bear back, but I did talk smack like I could beat him, though.
You said, no, I meant an 800.
Yeah, I meant like the conditioning. Because I lose either way. Even if I still beat him in a foot race.
You're supposed to, Blaine.
I'm right. See, right. I still lose it, especially if I barely beat him.
Right.
Which I thought that's what probably happened. So I'm like, man, that ain't even worth it. I said, because if I barely beat him, I'm like, dang, did you see Javon almost beat Blaine? See, that's not cool. That's not cool.
They didn't call him the freak for nothing, man.
He was definitely that.
Coach Mack is a freak of football knowledge, and he's going to join us next. He's live at practice. I don't know what he can tell us. We can ask him some
How
questions.
we frozen?
We'll do it next. Coach Mack on Blaine and Mickey. Yep. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Follow us on Twitter at Blaine and Mickey. Follow us on Instagram at Blaine and Mickey. This next guy doesn't have social media, but you can follow him anywhere he goes because he's Coach Mack. You can follow him right here every Tuesday on our show. Coach Mack, how in the world are you doing? Thanks for joining us.
Guys, doing good. Just stepped away from the field. They got about a period and a half to go to finish up this first day, mandatory minicamp, but always got time for you guys.
Oh, man, we appreciate it. No, we got to ask this first of all. You just said this. It just made, Coach, I think you would go viral if you just open up a Twitter account.
Yeah.
Watch this. How much thought have you thought about opening up your own account?
Well, pretty much zero.
I got my hands on 2 0. Come on, Coach.
All right. Even Mike Keith's on Instagram now, Coach.
Yeah. You got a secret
No, you know
IG
what?
account.
I've done some Instagram pictures with Mike Keith. I think it's outstanding. I think I've got enough people that know where I am and what I do. I don't try to keep anything hidden. When the bobbleheads first came out, bobblehead Coach Mack had a Twitter account. But it was bobblehead Coach Mack.
Oh, okay.
I followed his adventures. I think I still do.
Okay,
just need to get him back out doing stuff again. So
yeah, I'm not against it at all. But that is
that's just not your thing.
Well, that's a lot of work, I would imagine.
It is,
if
Coach.
you really want to do it right.
For us old guys, man, it's a lot of work.
So players doing a lot of work today on the field, Coach. I'll ask you this. As a coach, as a coaching staff, this is the mandatory stuff. You got most everybody there. What are you looking to get accomplished over these next 3 days, knowing I guess there's still 3 more days, I guess, of the voluntary stuff? What do you look forward to getting done over these next 3 days?
Yeah, they're still in installation, but to your point, everybody is here. Everybody is here now. Some aren't on the field. There are some still in the building. Going through various rehabs. Of course, they don't disclose any off-season things that people have gone through. But everybody's here in the building, and then of course, Kevin Byard is out there on the field looking like Kevin Byard.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but what they're doing, I mean, they're still their installs. They've progressed through all of these, the 6 OTAs that they've had, and then the mandatory OTAs, they'll continue with those, with their installs, on a linear basis. But, they get a little bit more time on the field, and plus, everybody's here watching them today. When I watching the defense, I mean, they're playing, different people up front, in some different spots. And so, it's interesting. It's interesting to watch, but they have by no means. It's not like it's a finished product out there. But the fact that everybody does get together, and those that have not been here, for the voluntary part of it, then they're here working on the field. Which is, look, everybody's here now. They're working. Then they've got the 4 OTA days after. The next week, and then, they'll break, and then we'll back here in training camp. And before we know it, guys, we'll be talking about training camp practices against the Vikings before the second preseason game. That's how fast this stuff goes.
It does go fast. Always appreciate time we get to talk about it with Coach Mack, too. He joins you courtesy of Farm Bureau Health Plans. Look to the folks at Farm Bureau Health Plans. You need someone who knows the health care coverage game plan. They've been protecting Tennesseans for 75 years and bringing you the Mac Attack.
Well, Coach, you kind of mentioned it. Everybody's there, and some on the field, some not, based off of wherever they're at in their off-season program. But, talk to us about, the fans and what you guys look at it from a coach's perspective when Byard wasn't there for voluntary workouts, which I don't think he was there at some other ones too, by the way. But and then, the situation wasn't the same. But then, I don't think there was any doubt, at least from my point of view. I'm wondering what yours is and the coaches when you were coaching about veteran players being there or not being there at this time.
There was never any doubt because they were in constant communication. I mean, I went through this as a head coach, and I was always in contact with my guys, and I knew what they were doing when they weren't there for the voluntary part of it. And then, I knew that they would. I'm with you, Blaine. I would never doubted that Kevin Byard would be here, for these 3 days. And as I said, he looks like Kevin Byard out there. Which, look, once you get to be a vet, and with that many years in, I was fine, with vets being able to, because guys establish things that they want to do as they start, getting towards the latter part of their careers, or get more in tuned into what they need to do. And so I never had any problem with that. Never, ever. Because the biggest thing about it is, Blaine, you can speak to it, and I'll speak to it as a coach. The biggest thing is the communication. You know, if you know where your guys are, and you know you talk to them, you know, every day or every other day, and you know where they are, then there is absolutely no problem with it. That's why it was set up like it was in the CBA. I mean, the CBA, you know, set this up for a reason like this, and it's basically for the veteran players. You know, the younger players, you know, need to be here because, look, you can't manufacture the experience. The veteran players have the experience. Young players don't. So young players trying to build a base, veteran players are trying to build their base that they've learned that they need to work on in their off season. They know what it takes now for them to get ready to play. So I'm like you, Blaine. I never doubted that Kevin Byard would be here.
Oh yeah. He's a pro's pro, and
yeah,
you know, I didn't even believe it. I had to be there to see him, not there for me to say where is he at. All right, so we're with Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack. Mack, talk a little bit in depth about the traits of a coach that coaches the quarterbacks in the toughest position to play in the NFL, at least for sure mentally, and that is, how do you develop the quarterback? Because that's where we're at right now with the younger quarterbacks in Levis and Willis, and you know, their development and where they go specifically in a new offense. So how do you go about that process, and what are some of the things you look for in coaches that are developing young quarterbacks?
Well, the first thing is you have to be consistent. You know, very consistent. If you're building them from the bottom up, you know, with their mechanics, trying to marry their lower half to their upper half, because they probably have gotten away with a lot of things operation-wise in college that you can't get away with in this league, just because of the speed and the accuracy that changes in this league when you're going against National Football League defensive players. But you've got to be consistent in that. First thing you got to do is start out and stay consistent with your base, and that's why it's very repetitive. It's repetitive in the meeting rooms. It's very repetitive on the field in the individuals. And then you have to be very patient. And the other thing that you know, most of the quarterbacks that I've been around, I've had rookie quarterbacks, you know, that I've drafted, is you have to be able to be patient enough. And also you've got to, because quarterbacks, I mean, they've got a different mindset. They want to be right all the time. And when you come into this league, you're not going to be right all the time, but you've got to be able to get the mindset that you have to learn from what is not gone right, be able to flush it and use it as a productive step to build on, rather than to be a self-destructive step and start dwelling on, you know, I'm not doing this as well or as fast as I want to progress. So you've got to be very, very patient, and then you've got to be very realistic with them as far as when you're evaluating what's going on. Because what happens is everything happens so fast back there, and it has to be, you know, once the thing that really you have to tell them, they have to earn the confidence of their teammates in the huddle. They have to earn that confidence, and the only way they can do that is by the amount of work they put in and how steady they are. They also need to develop the confidence of their locker room. Good, because you know you were a great defensive player all those years, but you still had to have confidence that your quarterback was a confident player, that he was doing everything that he needed to do to be able to be ready. So all of that stuff is very important, and it's not something that you gain immediately. It's something you have to earn, and you earn it by consistent work. And that's the thing that you have to continue, especially with young players at any position. Look, guys, to earn the respect of these veterans and to finally be accepted, you have to earn their respect by consistent work. They have to trust that you're going to work, because at the end of the day, everybody's money depends on everybody's money, and that's what's important.
Well said. We're on with Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack.
So, Coach, let's say a player gets cut tomorrow. Anybody from any team, they get cut. They pass through waivers. Because I know a lot of Titans fans say, my gosh, I wish they'd sign another receiver. So we don't even name the player. What all goes in the process of a building from guy gets cut from the Giants, let's say, and him winding up on your team?
Well, first of all, you go right back to all your evaluations that you've done, both in your that's why you have a pro personnel department. If it's a veteran player that has years of experience in the league, then you immediately go to your pro personnel department. You won't go back to your collegiate reports and look at them. But if they've got a body of work in the National Football League, that's what you want to judge them on. The first thing you go to is the medical reports. You go to the medicals and see what's going on, and then everybody knows everybody in this league. I can pick up a phone right now and call 3 or 4 guys on every team in this league, in the coaching part of it. So everybody knows a bunch of people, and GMs all know each other, and you can always call and ask them, why'd you let him go? Why'd you let him go? Have you got enough stacked up at that position? Just tell me, and everybody's honest. I mean, you have to be honest because it's a small circle of people. So that goes into it first is being able to, have your pro personnel department identify the guys, identify the body of work that they've put in, and then you start digging down to the personnel part of it, and then you start going, by tiers, people calling people that are decision makers as to why that they were let go. All of that goes into it. If all of those things start to line up, and you think there might be a reason to bring somebody in, then that's the next step that you do. But and so much of it depends on too, what their contract situation is. There's a lot that goes into it, but you got to start out at the base and see if they have some good football left in them first.
So a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, a lot of Titans fans, they just see things on Twitter, and this one reporter says this about him, then another reporter says that about him, and then there's a rumor that this and that. NFL guys, literally, if you were going to sign somebody like Hopkins, you make a bunch of phone calls, right? You do all your homework, and then it's how much money does he want, and are we willing to pay that?
Yeah, and where is he? I mean, where is he? And what is he going to add to your team?
Right.
Of course. I mean, that's a big part of it. And look, I mean, all the stuff that's on Twitter or people are reporting, nobody's going to tell anybody. I mean, it's just like, and again, I don't want to bring them up, but I will. Just like our mock draft stuff. All these people that put out this mock draft, that this is what these people think about this. Nobody's telling these people what they think. I'm just telling you, nobody. Zero. I mean, absolutely zero. So what goes on in the real lines of communication, people never know until it's done.
Coach Mack knows what's done, though, and he tells us about it every Tuesday right here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Coach, I'll tell you what's not getting done, and that is some of these players understanding this gambling stuff that's going on, man. Is this going to become a problem?
God.
What in the world's going on, Coach?
Are they blind and not paying attention, uninformed? I mean, man, I don't know where to go because times have changed. I mean, kids are doing gambling stuff on their apps in high school. So I don't know if that's matriculating all the way up because they're doing it in college and in the pros, but man, this may become an issue.
Well, first of all, how many contracts did you sign, Blaine, in the league?
One.
Okay.
No, three.
No, you signed 3, and you had somebody to read those contracts for you, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, somebody. Yeah, you go line by line. It's in there. It's in your contract. Don't do this.
Oh, man.
I mean,
but are they watching TV? I mean, aren't they seeing other guys get suspended?
Well, and that is the other thing. You know what that is? That is being bad at life. It really is. It's just being bad at life. That's being bolivious to what's going on in the world. Bolivious.
Ooh, I'm gonna use that term on. I'm gonna use that on my son when he's not listening to me.
Seriously, you don't want to be bad at life, and you can't go through your life bolivious. I mean, that makes no sense to me. None. And here's the other thing: if you're a National Football League player, and what was the guy up there at Indy? He was a 6th round pick. He's still making money, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now,
Oh, yeah.
Unless he's betting a whole lot of money and winning a lot, you're not going to make a lot of money doing that. So what are you doing?
Yeah, it makes no sense. The risk reward definitely isn't there. Coach, back to the Titans. I guess looking over time in history, not just with the Titans, but through your coaching career, how much, can a player help or hurt himself looking at from a rookie to like a low-level vet who's maybe just a backup, a security blanket, let's say use safety. He's the 3rd safety, plays a little bit, but also is on special team to a younger rookie. And then how does those evaluations evolve into we may have to go in another direction?
Look, you got to produce.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got to produce, and really, you know, when a undrafted player comes in or a younger player, they've got to prove themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you got to prove yourself in the building. You got to prove yourself, you know, in the meeting rooms, and you got to prove yourself on the field. And it's got to be consistent. I mean, it has to be consistent. And you know, a lot of guys go about it different ways. Let me just tell you a story about Darren Bates. We all know Batesy, right? Okay, well, you know, Batesy was a rookie. You know, when Jeff Fisher and I, because he'd played with Jeff Fisher's son at Auburn, we'd watched him play. He was a free agent rookie, really didn't quite have a position, not really big enough to be a linebacker, not quite fluid enough to be a safety, but he was tough and he had a GPS to the ball. So we bring him in, and the first special teams drill we had in practice, here's Batesy. Batesy had a plan. Batesy knew who the best special teams player on the Rams was at the time. He was a special teams captain, and so when we had the first drill, that was a head up mano drill. He said, "I want you." You know, called him out right there. I want you, and so of course, you know, being the veteran player, what are you going to do? You're not going to say no, all right? Well, Batesy twice, because the veteran wanted to do it again. Batesy drug him around the field like a dog with a bone twice, and then we went, "Oh, okay, we get it." I mean, at least he was willing to step up and try to make an impression, being able to do it on the field. And so then you take away all of the other stuff. You don't worry with the fact that he was a free agent. This guy's tough enough, and he wanted to display it in the correct way on the field. Well, what do you have? 11, 12-year career? Good for Batesy.
No doubt about it. He's done a really good job, at least back then. OC changed for the Titans now, and then, so you got the same personnel, maybe do different play designs, different concepts, but the same head coach, though. So how much do you think the offense will change compared to the previous 2 years?
No, it'll be different. It'll be different. You know, first of all, their offensive line is going to be completely different,
right?
And that's a huge difference. The other thing is, I expect Traylon Burks to be, and he's much more mature, than he was. But just the structure of it and the way that it will be called will be different. I can tell you that. I can only say so many things that I get to see at practice because I'm there every day, but it will be different. Because, look, and the head coach is a really, really smart dude, a really smart football dude, and he knows that he needs more production and more points out of his offense. It'll be different.
There you have it. Boom. Coach Mack. Give us the Mack attack.
Coach, we know practice is wrapping up. We'll let you get back to what you're doing over there. Thanks, as always, for being flexible on the time, and always fantastic catching up with you, sir.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Guys, always got time for you too. See ya.
Yes, sir. The one and only Coach Mack. When we come back, practice is over. We can tell you who all did and who didn't practice. Get to all that.
And you can tweet out your pictures.
I'll do that. Pictures coming at Blaine and Mickey.
Not a Lucas.
Yeah. Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Everything coming out now, who did and who didn't. Titans' first mini camp practice of the summer of 2023 is over. As you heard Dave McGinnis say, Kevin Byard.
Coach Mack.
Coach Mack. I used his formal name, Dave McGinnis. Coach Mack, as we all know him. Kevin Byard is back. You never doubted it. I never doubted it.
No, I didn't.
It's mandatory. Byard, he's going to be there.
Well, first of all, why am I getting fined? For nothing? What?
No.
They don't rescind those back.
No, not anymore.
You're not in the business of giving money back. Yep. Come on, bro.
I see you Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Not
on
going to do it. There was never a doubt.
Per TD, no sign of Christian Fulton. Trayvon Wesco, for anybody who wonders that he's
Whoa. I know I interrupt you all the time. What do you mean no sign? Let's get clarity for all our listeners. Was he in the building and just wasn't on the field? Because that qualifies if he's getting fined or not.
I'm trying to think of how to say this.
He was there. There was a sighting.
Let's just say.
You can say there was a sighting.
Let's just say there may have been a sighting of him, but not on the field practice.
Got you. All right. So he was there.
Trayvon Wesco, who's the tight end they acquired this offseason, who's the new blocker tight end guy. Elijah Molden. I did not see him when I was there. And I asked Rhett Bryan when I was leaving, did I miss Fulton? And he said no. And Sam Aquano.
You said Molden. You said Molden, man.
Elijah Molden, I didn't see him, neither did TD. He also said no Landry, Farley, or Radens, but all those guys not on the field. All those guys rehabbing a fairly catastrophic injury, a back surgery, or a knee. So that is, again, per TD. Others have reported the same list of names, but I saw TD was up here first. So that is that's who they didn't see. So sometimes after this ends, you find out like they had a personal thing, or I don't know.
They missed, or they had some obligation for.
Because I would think like some of you may not know anything about Trayvon Wesco, but like that's a guy who's going to make the team. I mean, they don't have a lot of tight ends. So something must have come up because I would think he's on the team. Molden.
I don't think he practiced in the OTAs. I think he might have a little hiccup injury.
Okay.
That's what I'm making a summary.
It could be. Yeah.
I could be totally wrong because he didn't practice. I think he was attending and he wasn't there. I haven't been over there to watch anything, so I have no idea. But I was making an assumption. After they just signed him, I'm like, well, why wouldn't he be there? You be there not too much. You will not be on the roster.
Well, no, that is true. I wouldn't push it that hard if I was him.
Yeah. I don't know. Make sure you get healthy. You better be right. Get it tight.
I stood with Corey Curtis, and we watched Stonehouse punt the ball.
Ooh.
And I can just say this. It was – do you guys remember – oh, gosh, Lucas, you're too young. There was a commercial where Michael Vick was on the field. This goes back to when Michael Vick – and he threw the ball and he threw it out of the stadium. And it was a commercial for – remember? It was a commercial for something.
Yeah.
And he was like, Mike, let's see the arm. And and you could tell it was kind of edited and the ball like flies completely out of the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
That's what these punts look like.
But trust me, when Mike Vick threw over my head, that's what it felt like to me too.
Hey, man. We were talking about Javon Curse earlier, like people who are freaky in a world of freaks.
He's on my freak list.
Powerade commercial.
That's Power. Oh, you found it. Yeah. Of course, Lucas found it. The internet.
You know, he did his research.
The
That's
internet
what I
doesn't
love
forget
about
anything.
Lucas.
I know. He immediately hits us.
I'm going to find this thing.
Okay, you old knuckleheads.
Yeah.
It's a Powerade commercial.
It's a Powerhead. Yeah. Powerade, not Powerhead.
And you can just tell there's like an edit, and the ball's sailing through the air 800 feet above the ground.
Like he throws it at a guy, throws like a check down, and it knocks the guy back like 10 yards through the air.
Yes, because of Powerade, not because he was Mike Vick, which, by the way, kids, go YouTube some Mike Vick highlights this afternoon. Be the best investment of, 30 minutes or an hour of your time. He was just a different human being.
Yeah.
His arm and his legs, he was like a robot.
The Atlanta Falcon one? Now,
That's who I'm talking about.
He became a polished thrower with Andy Reid after all the issues and everything. But Michael Vick is on my top 3 athletes that I played against that was just off the charts offensively. Yeah. That I saw with my eyeballs. And then I saw him. And then I didn't see him. And I was like, whoa, this has never happened to me.
Did you ever get a shot on him?
Oh, yeah, I sacked him in the playoffs.
Oh, you got him.
And I thought I was going to get him again. And he said, no, can't
He
do.
Houdini'd you.
Oh, man. Did he Houdini me like I'd never been Houdini'd? I had to go back and watch that. Man, it was playoffs, so we won. So I said, no, I got to go watch this play. This has never happened to me before. I told you, when I lock you in my beam and I got you zeroed in, I got you. I did the same thing when I got a sack before. In a nose hair of him. And I couldn't get him. I didn't touch him. He put on some afterburners that I had never seen before, and I saw smoke in Philly. Whoa! I said, oh, and I start like, I can't get him. Slow down. That had never happened to me.
This was Falcons, Michael Vick.
Yeah.
You were in Philly. He was a Falcon.
Yeah, I'm year 10, and he Falcon. Yeah, he
was new then.
Him, Randy Moss, and Deion Sanders in his prime. And that was my younger years, but the fastest guys I've ever seen on an NFL field, period. Live, in action. So I wasn't really playing against Deion. We played him later when he was with the Redskins, but you're Commanders now, but he wasn't the player he was when I was talking. He was with the Falcons. This is young. In my rookie year, and I kept on saying, why ain't Warren throwing over there? So I got a bird's eye view. I'm on the sideline. I'm not even playing.
Okay, that's okay.
I'm on special teams.
Oh, you got a real good look at that.
I'm there like, man, he wide open over there. Haywood Jeffries wide open. Throw it to him. I'm up here, like I'm a fan. I'm like, throw it to him. And I'm not realizing, that's Deion over there. He playing way off. They said, nah, he can't throw over there. Deion over there. I said, but he playing so far off. He said, no, I don't think you better try that. Or Moon tried to throw. It was so happened it was right on our sideline.
Oh.
He took off like a bat at up. You know what? And I thought I saw a blur. Woof. I was like, boom, he picked that ball off and I think he was skipping, running 4-4. He was doing the high skipping, running 4-4 because he was still running fast. I was like, oh, my. I said, I think I need to turn up my off-season workouts because if not, I'm not going to be here very long. Yeah, so him, naturally Randy Moss and some of his athletic feats. But, those three are just on a different level for me when I played. Some were better. Other guys were better football players. But when you just talking about just raw, God-gifted talent that I played against, man, they were that. I was like, wow, I've never seen nothing like this.
Tales from the Hitman. Can't beat the story time. About to get some stories from Titans. They will be at the podium, select players. Hope that, man, we'll hear from Kevin Byard. I sure hope we do. And Coach Vrabel, all coming up in hour number 2.
It is 2 o'clock. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Titans on the field today for mandatory minicamp. Select players, including running back Derrick Henry and head coach Mike Vrabel, are meeting the media right now. You can hear it all live right here on Blaine and Mickey in a matter of moments. Breaking news this morning from CNBC. The PGA Tour has agreed to merge with Saudi-backed rival Live Golf. The deal will see the two move forward together as a larger golf enterprise. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once and your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, hour number 2 on Tuesday. Titans at the podium after mandatory minicamp. Let's hear from the King, Derrick Henry, who is speaking live now.
I'm excited for him and what he's able to do for this team.
What's it like having a new voice in the room with a new coach, with Tony moving over to coach the tight ends?
Oh, it's been good. Me and Tony still joke around every now and then. J.O.'s been great. Having him, getting to know him, and continue to grow our relationship as time goes on.
Now you talked about the new offense a little bit, but is there anything that you think will help the offense be a little bit more efficient? I know there's been talk of kind of more up-tempo and less verbiage in the play calls and that kind of thing. Do you see some things that could help out?
No, I'll let Tim handle that and Coach Braves handle that, and let us go out there and do our job and continue to get better. That's all we can do right now at this point. Continue to grow as an offense, learn a new system, and come out here and get better every day.
Derrick, having a guy like J.O. in the room with you, just a different set of eyeballs, have you taken anything from him in the last couple of months, or does he have a specific perspective that's maybe a little different than what you've had in the past?
He's came from a different team. Just getting to know one another, talking about each other's experiences and, different things like that. And, what he's seen and what I've seen and what's occurred in the past. And just talking football, getting to know one another.
How's the transition from learning a new offense in the classroom to taking it out on the field here these last few weeks? Has it been pretty seamless for you?
Oh, yeah, it's easy. J.O.'s been great helping us learn everything, making sure we on our P's and Q's, and trying to make it as easy as possible for us when we get out there. But, sometimes, you're going to have mistakes, but you just come out here and learn and continue to grow and try to get better and crisp up the things you need to do to be good in the offense.
Derrick, there's so many new faces on that offensive line. How much with the run game is it making sure the chemistry, the coordination, and everything is working between you all?
I'm trying to learn what I'm supposed to do, and sure the guys are doing the same. Got to have the new faces. Guys are working, doing what they can to help us and help themselves in this offense and getting better. So excited to have those guys and excited to see what they do when the season comes around.
Did you get a chance to talk to KB at all? I know this offseason, both of you guys, there were all kinds of rumor mill involving both of you guys. I wonder if you can kind of sympathize with one another and if you've talked about that at all.
We talk in the offseason like we always do, but you can't really worry about that too much. Just control what you can control. Continue to work until it's time to get back and get back to work.
You back split seem to be splitting out more, going in motion more. How much is Spears adding to what the running backs are going to be asked to do, and how interesting is it to kind of see the changes there?
It's cool to see the backs get an opportunity. He's a versatile player, just like Dontrell was, and he's good at what he does in the pass game. So it's going to be exciting for him to be out there and get some passes and make some big plays for us.
Taylor and Ben both gone. You're now, I guess, the longest tenured guy on the offense. So what does that change your role, your responsibility at all in terms of how you deal with your teammates and all?
No, not at all. I definitely miss those guys. But at the end of the day, you got to come to work and do your job and lead by example, and that's what I try to do. Any guys have any questions, I'm here to help. Be the best teammate I can. But I definitely miss those guys for sure.
Derrick, Treylon seems like a totally different player entering his second season. Just from your vantage point, what has kind of been the change from year 1 to year 2 for him?
He's flying around. I think he spent the offseason here. You can tell he's been working by the way he's been, catching passes and being explosive when the ball's in his hands. I'm excited for him. Ready to see his hard work pays off, and I know he's excited as well.
How'd you end up working with Shane McMahon this offseason?
He was rehabbing where I work out at, and I was able to get a workout in with him. He's a really cool dude. That was pretty fun. I've been watching him since I was a little kid, so it was cool to get a workout with him.
Is there anything different early part of this offseason before you got here for off-season program as far as training, who you worked with, or kind of same old?
Same old. Nothing changed.
How was your charity event over the weekend?
Say it again?
Your charity event on Sunday?
Oh, it was good. Actually was a volunteer. They invited me to come speak and got to spend time with Volunteers of America. I thought it was pretty cool what they do in the community around the world, the message that they're trying to send out. And it was great to be around great people and spend some time with them and them getting to know me and I'm getting to know them and what they're all about. And I definitely appreciate them having me out and hearing their message and all the great things that they do, because my charity foundation tries to do the same thing. So it was a pretty cool experience.
You meet Joe Dugan while you're out there, the MC?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we got the time to. He actually interviewed me while I was on stage. He did all right though. So no, it's good. He did a good job. All right.
That's Derrick Henry speaking to the media. Yeah, D. Good in the F&M Bank chat had said, hey, are they not streaming this? So if you're watching the stream, Lucas, you can hear it, but you just won't necessarily see like video of Derrick Henry at the podium. We can't run the video on the radio, so we just run the audio on the radio, if that's confusing people.
It's on TennesseeTitans.com. They in the past, they've streamed the pressers on Twitter, but they have not done so during OTAs or minicamp.
Yeah, it's not on my Twitter. Tennessee Titans Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, they they did or didn't stream the audio on their. Are they doing
it's
it?
Not on their Twitter. It's just on TennesseeTitans.com.
Just on their website.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's why we always say just listen to us. Then you can get us and you can get the audio because we typically run it. So we're trying to get everything accommodated there. If you're just joining us for hour two. Let me get TD pulled up here, the guys who were there and the guys who were not. So if you're just getting in the car, you're just finishing up from work, whatever you're doing, maybe you're just headed to work. The question everybody wanted to know that I think people were nervous about was Kevin Byard. But he was there today on the practice field, looked good, saw accounts of the things he was doing. Blaine, he looked like Kevin Byard, which I don't think there was any doubt from you or me or anybody who's followed Kevin Byard. It's a mandatory thing that he would be there today and he'd be in great shape and he'd look like Kevin Byard. I do think there were some Titans fans who were worried like, oh my gosh, he's never going to come back. He's never coming back.
Well, I mean, if I know we've covered it, not just us, but the station, about all the rules that's involved, and players aren't in the business of giving money back. Especially a guy of his caliber. And I'm not talking about his play. I'm talking about his acumen and his business-like approach about playing in the National Football League and about who he is. And I don't think he's in the business of giving any money back, whether he's here on this team come the start of the season or not, period. So that just never really, I don't think there was a 99.9% chance in my mind that he was going to be at the practice. Now, him not being available for the media, though, I'm interested, why that's the case. I think Buck reported that and some other people as well. So, you had to know that you're going to be asked about, you not being at OTAs. And really, it's just an easy answer. I haven't been at some of the other OTAs. So
sure,
I had nothing to do with anything else besides me continuing to do some things I'm doing on the off season on my own, let alone whatever excuse he wanted to come up with to say why he wasn't there, whether it was valid or not. So, yeah, and then you squash that. It is what it is. They're going to ask about, them asking for a pay cut. Yes, they did. And right now we're, sitting where we were at that same time.
Lucas says Azeez Al-Shire, the newly acquired Titans linebacker, is at the podium now. Let's hear from one of the newest Titans as he speaks live.
You noticing the backs, especially Spears, lining up in the slot, lining up wide, going in motion to make things complicated for you guys particularly?
No, yeah, it's definitely a lot going on. And, I think he's a really good route runner. That's part of why we bring him in here. And, we've been going at it. I've been messing with him since the first day that we've been going against each other. And I think he's going to be a really good player. He's got to keep working, take it one day at a time. And so that's why we all here. We're just working.
How are you messing with him? Mostly talking to him?
Just talking crap. He might be guarding him or something, and he don't catch the ball. I just whisper in his ear, say something stupid. Or we in the locker room, I'm messing with him all the time. So it's all love, though.
You've had several practices without Kevin Byard, and he was back today, being one of the leaders of the team. How did you maybe notice the energy shift with him being in the back end today?
I really didn't notice it at all. No, I'm joking. No, man, it's really good. Like, just a breath of fresh air. Obviously a guy who has a ton of experience. He's been in the league longer than, obviously a lot of players. And I think the longest tenured Titan, I want to say. So, it's just really good to have him in the building. And, I got to meet him at his function that he had earlier in the year, earlier in the season, like a month and a half ago when I first got here. So it was good to talk to him again, see him in the building again, and everybody was happy to see him. Obviously,
like he made his.
A guy like Kevin or maybe even Derek that you've seen from afar, maybe played against once or twice, and then you see them on the practice field and see how they work every day. How does it change your perspective of them?
I think it's not really changing the perspective, but kind of just validating why they are who they are. Derek, he's a Florida boy, so, we kind of just meshed together off of that. So I think ever since he realized I was from Tampa, we just been talking every single day, chopping it up. And obviously, the career that he's had up until this point, and then seeing him out on the field, how he works, and even the Instagram videos, he always popping up doing something crazy, lifting some crazy weights. And even when we get in the weight room, last week we was trying to lift together. I told him, hey, you lift with the lineman, you can't lift with me. So it's been good, man, just to see that up close in person. It's more so just been, kind of confirmation of what you already see.
Kind of along the same lines, what were your maybe thoughts about Vrabel before you got here? What's it been like being coached by him as far as just how hands-on he is, maybe how intense he is early on?
Kind of the same, just kind of like verified. He gets the blue check. Yeah, so, he is exactly who they say he is. Obviously he cares a lot about, all phases. I don't think he's just in the linebacker room. He pokes his head in the secondary room, D-line. The quarterback say he be in there trying to tell people what to do. So he got his hand in everything. And I think that just, speaks volumes for, how much he cares about, about this team and about winning, realistically.
But Kevin.
Titans linebacker Azeez Al-Shire, people are saying in the FNN Bank chat, hey, he's a funny guy. Yeah, he is. Yeah. He does have a good sense of humor. I remember him making a lot of plays for San Francisco. He'll be an interesting guy to add in them. I like the way he plays. I'm looking forward to seeing him get a big opportunity here as a starter with the Titans. Also looking forward to hearing from Mike Vrabel. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. He should be at the podium. Hopefully he gets asked about Christian Fulton and some other stuff. We'll run that live next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Titans head coach Mike Vrabel meeting live with the media right now. Let's go to St. Thomas Sports Park.
Trying to just figure out what else we can add and what else that we can get good at, and who can help us at different positions and different personnel groups.
Last year, a lot of the success that Racy had in preseason before he got hurt was on deep routes. This year, is he added more to his route tree, or is that more of a product of the offense that we're seeing him run more routes across the middle and things like that?
I think it's just a product of where we're offered the installation when you're talking about 3rd and 5. I don't know how many deep balls we're going to throw to Racy on 3rd and 5. Maybe we'll let one loose here and there, but I think that may be just a product of what you're seeing on that particular day. Start to work in the fringe, so some of that stuff gets eliminated, trying to work down into the field. So tomorrow we won't see many deep balls from the 15. And then maybe next week we may be able to lengthen the field a little bit.
What do you need to see from him in terms of taking a step forward beyond just special teams contributions?
Well, that would be a good place to start. As like we tell everybody that's looking to earn a role, that is your fastest way to finding a role is on special teams, being an elite special teams player, gunner, disruptive, potentially looking to be able to return to football. And then offensively, really just pick up where he left off. And I know that practice is important for everybody, but I saw when Racy was out there in training camp and improving and getting better and adjusting to the football down the field, he made some plays, and then unfortunately had a setback, and no fault of his. It's just I think some of that stuff you have to practice some of that stuff. You have to practice running full speed and 40 yards down the field and being able to adjust to the football and go up and make a play.
I'm not sure if you're aware there's an unnamed Colts player who apparently there's gambling tied to him. If you are aware, you've seen that, does that make you go back and
I touched on this last week pretty extensively.
But I mean, that's happened since then. This is something new since then.
I'm sure he didn't bet it since the time that I talked about it.
Made aware of it since then.
Made aware, yeah. I got a phone just like you, and we talked to the players extensively about what our responsibility is, and we'll have part of this mini camp is education throughout the league. We get some extra time, so that's what we're going to do here. As soon as I finish up with you guys, is start some of those presentations that we have. We have a rookie program that we hit every day, and then there'll be some things for the entire team that we'll have to hit. So that'll be something that we'll cover.
If kickoff fair catches take off the way the league seems to hope, is that ultimately going to have a bearing on how you shape a roster, and that guys who cover kicks or on kickoff are less valuable than they were previously because they're running down to watch a guy wave his hand?
Well, I would say that the best kickoff players are ones that are physical, aggressive, can run and tackle. So whether we use those players on the kickoff or offense or defense, take as many of those good guys that can run and hit as humanly possible. Everybody's got a choice to make. If you want to fair catch it, that's what the rules say. And if you don't, have at it and return it, right? So it's an opportunity to have a choice, to decide, to figure out what you want to do. And, we'll see about all these people complaining about it and see if they fair catch or see if they want to plow it up in there to the 20-yard line.
How's Peter handling the guard portion of his learning so far?
I probably smell real good. After practice.
It was bugging me a minute.
We probably smell the same, Teresa. Good. Good. He's learning. He's working hard. He's in there working at times with Tier and Jeffrey and now Danico today. So, the more work that they can get and pass protection in there. And again, that's the thing I respect the most about these guys is that they go, and it's not, just they're half speed, but that they're going. And they know when to go, and they work, and they play with their hands, and it's limited contact. We're not bull rushing anybody. So I think it's been good work for everybody, and they've been able to do that and stay away from the quarterback and for the most part stay on the ground. Great teams know how to practice, and that's what I try to talk to these guys about.
Is the kind of the guard portion of his learning, is it kind of what you expected in terms of a guy trying to learn that?
I didn't have any expectations other than just come in here and find a role and be physical and finish and, play with his hands and work to the second level, all those things that we're going to ask our linemen to do.
Mike, I was going back, and I don't believe you've ever scheduled the off season where you had mini camp and then still have another week next week. What was the genesis in that change of the schedule for you this year, and what do you hope to get out of the 2 periods now that they're set up like this?
Well, we've always kind of shit-canned that last day of minicamp, and so I didn't want to do that this year, so we just scheduled it this week, and we'll practice 3 days and go from there.
You shit-canned the last day of OTAs?
Probably, yeah.
You all had the high school coaches. What was your message to them?
The message was, one, that the high school football in Middle Tennessee has improved since the time that I've been here as the head football coach. You know, the players have gotten better, the talent's gotten better, the teams have gotten better. More colleges are coming in here to recruit, and so we wanted to do everything that we could to help them, talk to them about what we try to do and what we teach our players and how we teach, the different learning styles, the different teaching styles that's necessary. Their presence and their ability to be in the school and to be role models, I think, is critical in their school. Strength and conditioning we covered NCAA eligibility, how they can help make sure that these players are in good academic standing so that they can get a scholarship and that they don't wait too late and say, hey, we're going to wait till the last senior year and make a big push. That's a lot of credits, and the margin for error gets pretty thin. So trying to stay on top of that stuff early. You know, a lot of these guys, man, they're the head trainer, they're the strength coach, they're the head coach. And so we're trying to give them as much information about all those different things that we possibly can. It was great. They asked questions. They were in meetings. So Josh Corey and his staff did a fantastic job, and I'm thankful for the idea, and I'm thankful for the turnout. Thanks, guys.
Head coach Mike Vrabel meeting with the media today. I think we missed the first couple of minutes of that, but most of what Mike Vrabel said there as the Titans brought up near the end, and a couple of words that were said there we tried to bleep out that you didn't hear, a couple of colorful language words. But he was asked specifically about it's rare that you have another voluntary thing after minicamp. So they're having minicamp, then they have another involuntary OTA, which is the voluntary thing next week. And one of the reporters pointed out, normally you don't do that, which it looked odd to me, but I didn't necessarily place it. But and then they got into some words that we had to bleep out. So
Red Brian, he brought that up. Yeah. I thought they liked the schedule last week when you were on your vacation,
world traveling,
world tour, the Cardinals game. Yeah, it was interesting. I think that was Steve Lehman who brought that question up. But the genesis of it all, and he just he said he poop canned it, so a couple times. But I wonder if the coaches know what you can and cannot say, because I know what I can and cannot say on this airwave.
Yeah, and you know that it's airwaving somewhere. And it airwaved. Buck Rising, Mike Vrabel on moving minicamp up and having the OTA next week. And he said normally we poop can the last day. Although he didn't say poop. He said something that rhymes with fit. He said normally we poop can the last day of minicamp. I didn't want to do that this year. Because usually we're out there, and the last day they come out there and they stretch just for a minute, and then like 2 linemen race each other and they call it a summer.
Well, he still said he probably will do that at the end of this spring. I mean,
the voluntary, yeah.
The Jets poop canned their entire week of minicamp.
It's because Rodgers can't practice.
Maybe they're starting training camp a week early.
Oh, they get the option. They get to do that, huh? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know you could do that.
Well, they have a specific reason that I'll pull up what it is.
Oh,
it's new coach or
he's not a new coach.
No, Robert Saleh's not new, but there's some reasons why you get to start early.
Oh, because they're playing the Hall of Fame game.
Okay, that's it. Then.
Yeah,
it's new coach or Hall of Fame game. Those are the 2 reasons. Yeah, that's how that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the idea was though, don't poop can a day that everybody has to be there. So this week, since you technically have to be there, as Marshawn Lynch said, so you don't get fined. I'm sure Saul won't get fined. I guess the idea was, now we're going to have it. I mean, it's an interesting way to flip things around. Now we're going to go ahead and do it this way. So everybody's going to be here for 3 days.
Oh, yeah. Got him. Checkmate. Only things I wanted to know, I don't know if we missed that in the first 2 or 3 minutes, which we were on commercial break, is, about Byard, him talking about Byard or Fulton, and if those questions were even asked. Do we know if those questions were asked during those first 2 or 3 minutes?
You find out.
Because really, that was, what I wanted to really know. And so
he was asked by Teresa right off the bat how nice it is to have Byard back, if you want to hear it.
Okay, sure. Please.
How nice is it to have Kevin back? You'd said that, and Shane had, y'all expected him back. How did he look out there on the field?
Looked like everybody else. Looked like he knew what he was supposed to be doing, and like he was in good shape. So it's good to have everybody out there that's ready to perform and able to be out there.
Mike, are there any parts of practice that you look at one way or another to determine?
So that was his quick answer on Byard.
And no one asked about Fulton.
Lucas, I just did a quick search on Vrabel Fulton.
Yeah, not that I've seen.
I got nothing.
Right.
Now,
Is it because he was riding a bike, which means you don't want to ask about an injury? Kind of taking me through the process, guys, of why that wasn't asked. You guys are the media experts that I lean on. Is that why I was at? Because they know that there's really nothing he can talk about if he's on the bike because he's at least somewhat injured. At least we're going to assume, or he's not practiced, so he's on the bike. So whatever that reason is. So do you let Coach Vrabel then tell you that he's injured or that he's riding the bike because of whatever?
I think the way you'd have to ask it, because you can't, if you guys remember this, and Lucas, you remember,
because you can't divulge injury. I mean,
you can't be the person who says this guy's injured. So what's it? And you also, as you remember, because wasn't it Buck that brought up they have a third field during training camp,
right?
And so all the dudes who are hurt. So let's say that we flash forward whatever that is, 2 months until training camp. Let's just say it's 2 months from today. I think it's a little more. If we went out there and watched the first day of training camp, and let's say Dylan Radins and Caleb Farley and Harold Landry were all on the third field, and somebody's putting them through their paces and throwing a medicine ball at them, and they're in the sand pit, you can't bring that up.
Okay.
So you couldn't say, "Hey, we saw Farley was running today on the side," because that's what gotten people like lit up by Vrabel. But what you could say, I would think, we haven't seen Christian Fulton on the practice field. Is there anything new about him you can tell us?
Right, now that everybody's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him on the practice field. Mike, is there?
But nobody asked.
Nope.
Yeah, he, along with Radins, Farley, Landry, and Molden, were not spotted.
But he going to rip Teron over asking about gambling. I mean, really?
I got a phone, just like you.
Dang, bro. Did you reiterate it again? They happened again, Coach. I just was asking again because he should have added Teron, should have said, well, there are a lot of ding-dongs. And obviously he saw that all this other stuff was going on, let alone the whole year went by and really was suspended. And we still have guys getting caught. Is gambling going to be an issue? Maybe that's where he didn't want to go. But that is not even where they even got close to. He just, ripped him. Oh.
Hey, man.
I did that last time we were here.
Talked about this.
Yeah.
Teron's like, yeah, but man, there's new developments. Like, it just happened again. So, no, which, by the way, if you don't know about that, a Colts player busted for gambling.
Isaiah Rodgers Sr.
And he was supposed to be gunning for a starting role this year.
He started 8 or 9 games. The guy's a pretty solid player. He's also their kick returner. This guy can play. I forgot where he went to school. I looked him up maybe his 5th year. This guy,
I think it's the last year of his contract, 4.
4, okay. Yeah, he's been in the league. I remember looking him up. I forgot what school he went to when I looked him up years ago. I want to say, some obscure. Woo! I was going to say UConn. That's what I kept thinking. I'm going, dang, no wonder I'd never heard of this guy. And this guy can run. He can absolutely run. And he's almost taking a couple of the house against the Titans.
And as you know, as a special teamer, kick returner, if you can run, that's a skill set that keeps you employed.
Yeah. But if he gets suspended for any length of time, and maybe even a year,
they'll move right on past him.
Oh, yeah, he's done. Man, it'll be not for long. I saw his really nice apology on Twitter.
I saw it.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, dang, what did he actually do? We don't even know the punishment. Is this too soon? You basically admitted guilt right here, and they haven't even come out with the punishment yet.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's throwing himself at the mercy of like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I just can't believe.
So he's trying to get them to do less.
100%.
Oh, okay.
I just can't believe UMass has produced a single NFL player in the last decade. They have been in the absolute
What are you talking about?
depths.
The Titans drafted one.
Oh, that receiver from
Tajay Sharp.
Tajay Sharp did go to UMass. Wow.
Isn't that where he went? Let me backtrack. Isn't that where he went first? I could be wrong.
I think you're right.
Well, Walt Bell,
He did.
Walt Bell,
He goes make you mad, yeah.
Walt Bell, local guy.
he's from Dixon.
Dixon
he was
native,
the
yep.
UMass coach for 3 years. He was on the staff at Arkansas State for a while.
He's now the OC at Indiana.
Sure is.
Oh, is he?
He's with my guy who was also at everybody
Tom
goes to
Allen.
Arkansas State. Tom Allen.
I did
was at
not know
Arkansas
Tom
State
Allen
with
was
Freeze.
at Arkansas State.
Yeah.
I saw
He's a
Tom
good
Allen
dude.
blow out his hamstring at a fantasy camp. It looked like he was shot.
Yeah, he all he did was just he was doing high knee work.
He wasn't doing that. He was just like covering an insurance adjuster in the end zone for fantasy camp. And it was like, pow!
He looks like an insurance adjuster.
He went down like a lump of coal, dropped off a cliff.
Yeah.
He's all right now, though.
Yeah.
Well, but, hey, Tajay Sharp,
I don't think anybody's picked him up.
Blaine pays Tajay his respects. Tajay had a decent little run here.
I really believe he's like a 4 or 5 guy. He's a quality player, and guess what? He's exactly what NWI does. Oh, he'll show you glimpses of, he could be a good player. And but they think NWI can be a 2. But you didn't think that about Tajay Sharp, though. No, that's all I'm saying. I mean, he was a drafted player, too, so.
Yeah,
he
fifth
was still
round
late
pick.
round. Yeah, 5th round, yeah. I thought he was a good route runner. But I thought he had the mental toughness and fortitude and dog in him that you got to have, especially at receiver. He even play in the National Football League, so he has the 1-2. So sometimes that's not enough. But I think he should be on the roster. And I'm not saying starting or anything like that. I think he should be. Man, if you got him over 4 or 5, you doing something. Now he's not a special team player, so that probably can hurt him. But yeah, it's a lot of guys like him, but. I just in the league, but you're only going to get living a shot. Man, he bounced around there, and that's tough. That's
His best year was his rookie year, 522 receiving yards.
How many catches?
41.
He had 41, then he had 26, then he had 25. He only played 3 years here, then he started to bounce around. So he's played in games since then for Minnesota and Atlanta. The Atlanta, Tennessee Falcons.
Who signed another former Titan yesterday?
Who they signed?
Breon Borders, the cornerback.
Oh, my man Borders.
He's a Falcon.
Borders, man.
Oh, is that the one I said had tight hips? Is that no? That's not him.
I think you said
I said
that
he
about
should be
a
a
few of
safety.
them. Yes,
that's him.
Yeah.
He can get away with. That's kind of like how I was.
because he had the one good game. He had to start, and it's like, look at Borders, and Blame is like, do you remember this? You said, hey, man, I know he had a good game, but I think when people look at the film, they're going to see. You said, hey, man, they're going to see there's some flaws here physically.
Yeah,
with his
and he
hips.
had a great game, by the way. And I said, they're going to go back and watch his tape. They're going to attack this dude. I'm
Bad
telling you
things
right
are going to
now.
happen.
And I hated to say that because he reminded me of myself as far as my stiffness. You could see the stiffness in his hips, and they're going to go like, oh, man, we're going to get this guy. They just didn't know to go after him and how to attack him here. They, different. I'm sure they knew after they watched the tape. So, that kind of, that's what told me to say he could be a real good safety. But I don't think he can make it in this league at corner. Even in the backup role. He making slip by a game or two, but boy, I knew right after that, and it happened. And I actually like him. I liked him as a player, but I would have moved him to free safety or something. I would have had him backing up Byard or somebody.
Okay.
But they were struggling for cornerbacks at that time.
Yeah,
they had to put him there. Unfortunately.
There was I was trying to
That's
remember
right. He
this.
almost had a pick for 6 on that
He did.
game. Yeah.
I was trying to remember this about Tajay. His second and third year, the thing about Tajay was this.
Well, he got in trouble off the field. I remember that. Remember he did some like violent stuff. Like did he punch somebody?
Oh, at the draft they picked another receiver,
He picked
right?
another receiver. The next you know he was at the bar. He punched somebody or did
I don't
something.
remember that.
Yeah, that was.
Should we say allegedly? I think.
I'm sorry, allegedly.
Okay, yeah, let's do
I
that.
was not there, and I don't know what the
Pat
real
McAfee
story was.
would tell you
but it
to
was
use the
something
word
like that.
allegedly.
Allegedly.
The
yes.
thing about Tajay in his last 2 years, he had less catches, but every ball that he caught almost went for a first down.
Oh,
that was his thing. He became the
was
first
a
down
chain
guy.
mover.
22 of his 26 catches in 2018 went for a first down. 20 of 25 in 19 went for first downs. He was like clutch on third down guy. Tajay Sharp, he always got you a first down. We got one more down left of this show. One more segment. We come back. I got curious because I know Lucas is upset. What's the criteria for hosting a super regional? Some dude tweeted it all out. What's the criteria?
Oh, they live it. Those Tennessee fans is living.
So we're going to get Lucas calmed down, and we'll tell you that next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Got curious. First of all, I just want to ask you, Lucas, how are you processing this? Because I know people are. It's weird. I talked to some of my buddies who are big orange.
Me too.
Vols for life, and they said, I don't know why. I had one guy tell me, I don't know why, but they keep saying Southern Miss is going to get this. There's no way, right? And then all the writers kept saying there was some inkling out there that, no, it's going to be Southern Miss if they win, and then the Vols will host Penn if Penn wins. Well, Southern Miss wins, and then this morning you get the news, trip to Hattiesburg in your future if you're one of the lucky 600 people to get a ticket.
Yeah, I just want to be more educated on the parameters. Because if it is RPI, strength of schedule, resume, Tennessee has all of those check marks in their box. So I'm just curious as to what other factors there are. I know Southern Miss's ballpark has a higher capacity as far as attendance goes, but I would imagine Knoxville would better accommodate a super regional crowd as a city with hotels, et cetera. So I would just like to be educated more on what actually goes into these decisions.
So educated more on Lucas Panziga. So I'm kidding.
Well, that's what I asked Wes yesterday a little bit. He acted as though some of it is a little political.
Well, there's a guy, Zachary Swim, Zach at the Dish, staff writer covering University of Texas baseball for OB Wire. Anyway, he's got ties to University of Texas, but he's a guy who covers and tweets about baseball. He went and found the regional and super regional selection criteria because apparently he dug this up for Texas a few years ago, and he said, literally, he's with all the talk about it today, he's retweeted it again. So here you go. Regarding the super regional tournaments with the criteria listed in bylaw 31-1.3, the Division I Baseball Committee also follows the criteria below. Super regional competition will take place at on-campus sites, blah, blah, blah. Prospective host institutions must submit a minimum financial guarantee of $35,000. Then it goes on from there. Consideration for hosting shall be given to the higher seed if a suitable hosting proposal has been received. Then it goes on. But here you go. If the super regional matchup is between equally seeded teams, the committee shall review the hosting proposals according to the site selection criteria, which is quality and availability of the facility, revenue potential, and other available accommodations to determine the host.
So RPI doesn't even really factor in according to that.
There's no RP or I mentioned in this.
Well, they say in the beginning, before you started that the higher ranked team, where you're assuming that you're thinking that Tennessee and them are the same. I think Southern Miss, they believe going into the tournament was a higher seeded team, and that's why they got it. Now, maybe after the tournament, you say, oh, they pretty much even or UT's better. But going in, it was definitely that thought process.
And it says equally seeded teams. So I guess the way they do it is, if you're a 2 seed, you're just a 2 seed. Yeah. They don't say, well, Lucas as a 2 seed is better than Blaine as the 2 seed. They just say, you're the same. So if both of y'all win, then here we go.
Bigger ballpark, more butts and seats, more money at Southern Miss.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a 5,500 seat stadium as opposed to 4,500, right? So they're like 1,000 more seats.
Nope, it's UT's fault.
You got to expand the stadium.
They got to expand the stadium.
That's what it goes down to.
It's true.
No, they would say we're gonna ship those into the outfield. What are you talking about?
It is supposed to rain all weekend in Hattiesburg, so that is going to be annoying if they have to delay over and over again.
Oh, that was horrendous for Vanderbilt. I mean, both teams, but man, that's tough.
Well,
tough sledding there,
and this is surprising to me because I understand, because there are times people call in and go, hey, do you guys know why this is? And we'll go, gosh, I don't know. Maybe it's this and maybe it's this.
I always tell them to call Lucas.
I always tell them follow the money. That's 1,000 more seats to sell.
Oh, man.
And it's an NCAA sanctioned tournament. It's 1,000 more seats to sell. It's more money. I think that's it.
You know, Southern Miss has said, basically, we've already sold them out. So Tennessee fans, you can't come.
Isn't that the deal, though?
Yeah, it is. They're not selling tickets to the general public, so Tennessee fans can't come and buy it up. Tennessee gets an allotment of like 600 tickets.
That is horrible.
5,500.
That is absolutely horrible, man.
They'll still make the trip. They'll still make the trip,
I
though.
don't care if it's Tennessee or any team. The other team should get more allotment than that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there will be a horde of orange probably lined around that ballpark.
Well, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to jump online And you're going to have to find the Southern Miss fan who's like, well, I'd really like to go. But I mean, if you're willing to pay me $5,000, I guess I could just go to the beach that week.
Oh, how much are the tickets going
$3,000. Have you checked StubHub? Well,
I don't know what they would go for at a super regional.
Ooh.
When did tickets go on sale? First game Saturday.
Saturday, yes.
So we need to
3-game
check.
series.
Let's check StubHub tomorrow and let's see what they're going for. I'll ask you guys. I know we're out. Luke is about to start playing the music. What would you be willing to sell your baseball soul for? If that was you.
For the Super Regionals?
Yeah, for a Super Regional.
Oh, we got to tweet that out.
What would you be willing? In this case, a Southern Miss fan. What would you, by the way, repping the Sun Belt, the Sun Belt champs. What would you be willing to sell your baseball soul for if you're a Southern Miss fan to a Tennessee fan?
Oh, they at least getting 3 times.
Wonder what's face value even, do you think, for the whole weekend?
Oh, $400.
So at least $1,200, do you think?
Ooh.
All right, we'll get our crack research staff on this. We'll have numbers for you tomorrow.
I don't know. I may have to watch that on TV for my son.
All right. Well, thanks for watching and listening to us. We'll get the numbers. We'll have them for you tomorrow. But right now, here's the only number that matters, 3. That's 3HL, and they're coming up next.
But in the meantime.
In between time, peace.